Welcome to this today's session. So in this session we have to discuss about the construction step of the dynamic model. So in the earlier session we have already discussed about the construction step which are required for the implementation of the object model. So after this we have to see after the object model is implemented. So we have to implement the dynamic model. So first of all see the introduction of this dynamic model. So this dynamic model, it shows the time dependent behavior of the system and the object which is used in it. Again, whenever we are started the dynamic analysis, as we are already know the dynamic model, it is represented by using the state diagram. So for the construction of the state diagram we required the state and event. So begin the dynamic analysis. So whenever we want to begin the dynamic analysis, so we have to look for the event, and this dynamic models, it is generally insignificant for the database, or we can say that the dynamic model, it is insignificant for the purely static data repository. So this static repository are nothing but the databases. So generally this dynamic model, it is important for the interactive system, and it consists of the various steps. So we have to follow some step for the construction of the dynamic model. So the first one step is we have to prepare the scenario of the typical interaction sequences. Second one, we have to identify the event between the object. Third one, we have to prepare the event traces for each scenario that we have already prepared in the first one step. On this scenario we have to prepare the event trace. Fourth one step for the construction of the dynamic model is build a state diagram. And the last one, that is the fifth one step, is match the event between the object to verify the consistency. So on, we have to see the one by one all the steps. So the first one step in the construction of the dynamic model is the preparing scenario. So scenario, it is just a sequence of event. So we have to prepare for the normal cases without error condition, and then we have to prepare the scenario for the special cases. So in this dynamic modeling we have just follow the first one step. In this we have prepared the scenario, we are preparing the scenario. So scenario is what? It is a sequence of event. So first of all, the sequence of event, it is being prepared for the normal cases, and after this word it is prepared for the special cases. Okay, for each event we have to identify the actors and the parameters. Okay, so normal ATM scenario and ATM scenario with the exception, okay, that you can see in this. So in this we can prepare the scenario. So in this we can in this scenario we are having the sequence of event. So in this for the ATM we have just identify preparing some scenarios. So the ATM asks the user first of all to insert a card, and user then insert a cash card. After this ATM swallows the card and read its serial number. So these are the sequence of the event that is particularly processed in the ATM whenever we are dispensing the cash, right, in the ATM. So it performs some sequence of the event. So that sequence of event we need to identify for the particular system that we have implemented, right. So this is the first one step of construction of dynamic modeling. Now see the second one, that is the interface format. So in this interface format there are the most interaction can be separated into the two part. First one is application logic and second one is user interface, right. So in this the analyst, it should concentrate first on the information flow and control, and rather than the presentation format. So this is the possible ATM layout that we have created here. So this is the interface format. So in this the analyst only have to first of all concentrate on the information flow and the control, and not on the presentation format, right. So this is the second one. Now come toward to the third one, that is identifying the event. So in the first one step we are just preparing the sequence of event, right. So that sequence of event, we need to identify that what type of events that we are using in our system. So first of all, we need to examine the scenario that we have prepared in the first one step to identify all the external event. So in this, an action by an object. So this action by an object that transmit the information is an event. So we can say that this event, it is nothing but the external signals or the action by an object that transmits some information. So it is an event. So in this we have to we have to identify the two type of event, that is the event trace and the event flow diagram, right? So in the event trace, it consists of a order list of event between the different objects, and in the event flow diagram, it's summarizing the events between the classes without regard for the sequence, and it also consists of a dynamic counterpart to the object diagram. So you can see this event trace and event flow diagram in this. So in this you can see there are different objects are there, user, ATM, consortium, and banks is there. So this is the sequence of event or the event trace. So event trace is order list of the event between the different objects. So between the different objects, these are the event trace, right? Now see the event flow diagram. So this is the event flow diagram. So in this we can see the how between the two objects the particular uh, operation it is being used. So this is about the event trace and the event flow diagram. Okay, so this is the third one step. Now see the next one, that we have to build a state diagram. So after this word, we have to prepare a state diagram for each object class with non-trivial dynamic behavior. So in this we have to pick this trace, and this trace showing the typical interaction, and only consider the event which affecting the single object. So in this, the interval between the two events is a state, and given each state a name if a name is meaningful, right? So in this find loop within the diagram, replace the finite sequence of event with the loops whenever possible. We have to merge the other scenario in the state diagram. We have to add the boundary class cases and spatial cases there. We have to test the completeness, error handling capabilities of a class, uh, again, etc. Many more things we have to use for constructing a state diagram. Okay, so first of all, we are just constructing or preparing a state diagram with object and classes with the dynamic behavior. Then we are showing the traces with the interaction and the event which are affecting the single object. Then we are showing the interval between the two events, and this is called as a state. Each state has some meaningful name. Again, we are showing the or we are using the loop within the diagram, and this replace the finite sequence of event with the loop whenever possible. We are merging the different scenario into a state diagram. We add the boundary cases and spatial cases. We are find or test the completeness and error handling capabilities, and many more. So this thing we have to perform for building a state diagram, right? So this is the state diagram that we have created for the ATM. So this is the final state diagram or final dynamic model that we will get here. Okay, so here so here so here we prepare one final state diagram for each object with the non-trivial dynamic behavior. Again, in this we are using the traces showing a typical interaction, and we are considering the event affecting a single object. In this we are using the intervals between the two events, and this event it is called as a stress. So in this way we need to implement the dynamic model after the object model. So thank you very much for watching.